protein is expected to double by 2050. And we also know that existing protein sources have their limitations. For example, plant-based protein requires heavy processing, while meat-based protein is harmful to the environment. So we all understand that the demand for high-quality alternative protein will skyrocket over the coming years. However, these new sources have their own set of limitations. For example, algae suffer from distinct taste, and cultured meat is years away from becoming commercially viable. Insects have been attracting a lot of attention, in particular, crickets, but they do have their own set of problems. First, they do not fit intensive farming. Crickets live as individuals and they die at high densities. Second, they suffer from very distinct taste and flavor, making them a challenging ingredient for the food industry. So the real solution is grasshoppers, with a whopping 72% protein, with all essential amino acids without saturated fat. They are an amazing product. They're also neutral in taste and flavor, making them the perfect ingredient for the food industry to produce energy bars, protein shakes, and other healthy food and beverage. And most importantly, grasshoppers' tendency to swarm, making them best suited for intensive farming. At Hargol FoodTech, we invented a new way of farming grasshoppers, which is phenomenal. We farm grasshoppers all year round, when others can only do it seasonally. We reduced the incubation period of the eggs from 40 weeks to 2 weeks, meaning we increased the number of life cycles from 1 to 10 per year. And the cage we developed for vertical farming enables us to grow 10 times more biomass per square foot while maintaining well-ventilated and sanitized environment for the grasshoppers. With Hargol's innovation, grasshopper farming is efficient and scalable. The market opportunity is huge. 5 years ago, the insect protein market in the US was zero. Today, it is a $100 million business. And in 5 years' time, this is a $1 billion opportunity. Hargol FoodTech already has orders from food manufacturers from the US and Europe. The best compliment we got so far in this project came from our competitors, the cricket farmers, that made inquiries about adopting our technology to grow their own grasshoppers. And it gets even better, as grasshoppers are the perfect food for pets. Let me introduce you to the team that cracked the grasshopper code. Hanan Aviv, our CTO, that for over 30 years has been growing, breeding, and eating a wide variety of insects, and this is why he's the only guy with hair on his head on our team. Ben Friedman, that specializes in operations efficiency, and myself with experience in business development, marketing, and finance. In the past 100 days, we closed a round of funding to increase our production capacity by 6 times and meet the demand we have from the market. We met regulatory compliance for the US market, and in the coming weeks, we will start shipping samples to US food manufacturers. My name is Dor Tamir, and this is Hargol FoodTech. And if you dare to take a bite from the future, come talk to me later. Thank you.
I can hear the claps. I can hear it. Now let's see which one of you can really get a great question now.
First of all, I've never believed in my life that someone could talk with this much passion about grasshoppers. It's incredible.
Thank you, me as well.
Unbelievable.
Thank you. Rami, please.
So, there may be a slight, really slight market education in getting people to get used to the taste. If there is a taste, sub-question number 1, we're talking about 1 billion grasshopper eaters already in the world. I suspect they are concentrated in Asia or stuff like that. And the question, so you're selling B2B.
Right.
But the B will have to put on the C
11. You're eating grasshoppers.
a notice. And the question is, what's in there for the consumer? Why should they choose a grasshopper protein versus something else? Is it the price? Is it the taste? Is it whatever?
Wow, long question. Thank you for that. Very important one. Well,
Thanks God.
Ceramic grasshoppers?
No, but it looks like I'm talking about the future, but the future is now. You know, I can tell you stories about new startups in North America and in Europe selling healthy food products based on insect protein. But it's not only them. 2 months ago, PepsiCo announced that they have already Doritos with insect protein. In the last 2 months in Israel...
You don't eat Doritos anymore, huh?
No. Listen, in the last 2 months in Israel, we hosted Coca-Cola. They contacted us. We did no marketing and business efforts whatsoever. So Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, IKEA, look what you're eating at the restaurants. Diageo, Glanbia, Whole Foods Market, and many more. So they are looking into insect protein, and they are challenging this new protein source. Regarding the perception of consumers, well, the story is big. It is about sustainability. It's about health. It is much healthier. We are conducting clinical trials with the Hebrew University, which we try to show that the impact of grasshopper protein diet have a very positive impact on the development of embryos and young children. And the story is much bigger than that.
It's also the price, or it's not related?
Price, no, it's too early for that. This is just the beginning of the industry, but in the long term, yes, price will be an issue. Right now, it is about sustainability and health.
Are there any regulatory issues? I mean, is there like a grasshopper code? You know, can you actually put this into food, or do you need to go through a process?
Absolutely. Regulation is one of the greatest challenges for this new industry, and this is why we chose the US market, because 1.5 years ago, the FDA announced that they see insects as exotic food, and the only requirement is GMP, and we met that requirement. For Europe, each country is different, and the entire EU is going towards novel food, which is a little bit more complicated. Asia and Africa, there is no real regulation so for us to export insects, it's a challenge.
I was afraid if you're going to let us taste, you can phone
No, yes, okay.
Bring it up.
Don't challenge him on that.
I think I ate a grasshopper once in China on the street somewhere, so maybe I can try it again. I'm just wondering about barrier to entry, sort of the mind share of your consumer. Is your strategy more about embedding the protein into ingredients versus a bag of grasshoppers on the shelf? I'm trying to understand sort of the consumer experience.
This is a very important question, and I must say that I'm still surprised by the answer that I'm going to give you. When we started, we believed that embedding it as a powder into food products will be the right way to go forward. However, 35% of the demand we have from the US market is for the whole grasshoppers to be served in restaurants as snacks. And that's probably because for 40 to 50 million Mexicans living in the US, chapulines, the Mexican grasshopper, is a national delicacy, and there is no supply of it. But I guess most of it will be in the form of a powder embedded into food products.
So this is a new industry, I guess. Who are the key players in this industry? Same players that we currently know, same food companies?
Well, key players right now in production are the cricket farmers from the US, such as Entomo Farms from Ontario, not the US, Tiny Farms from California, and a few more farms you can find across the US. In terms of the actual products, or the food products, you can find Exo from New York, Chapul from Utah, and the new names I just mentioned, Coop, the supermarket chain in Switzerland, are serving meatballs made of mealworms. IKEA looking into it, PepsiCo out there, Coca-Cola, and many more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.